Sinkala, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Lee. Good morning, and good morning to your viewers.
So why did the junta quickly restore the constitution following the suspension of Burkina-Faso by the AU? What could have actually been at stake?
Yes, firstly, we must understand that yesterday, Africa is home to 1.3, almost 1.4 billion people. And with a population rate of 2.4%, we're looking at 33 million people are integrated into Africa every age. So now the scramble for survival and governance becomes an issue on how to provide for each one of the people that are integrated. And already there is a backlog already, which is participating. And as well, in this case, we can look at the external influence and why these francophone areas, the Sahel region and the Central African Republic areas, are prone to coup d'etats. These are issues where we have to talk about constitutionalism, and the term again, when we are talking about democracy, how do you dethrone or depose of a leader who is elected? How do you suspend the constitution? Those are the areas or things that we would like to hear about.
The great worry is the amount of coups that we are seeing. We've seen now 5 African countries going through the same thing, from Sudan, Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea. Now, these are countries obviously predominantly in West Africa, but I want to bring the AU into this now. I mean, if we go back to what happened in Burkina Faso, the AU's decision about the coup came a week after it happened. I mean, what is your view? And I'm not mentioning the other countries and their involvement there, but what is your view on the AU's turnaround time in making decisions, I mean, particularly on the back of this one for Burkina Faso?
Yeah, look, that just shows that the AU is not in charge. Also, it gives us a narrative that the regional organization, the ECOWAS, does not speak to the AU. And the whole systems that have been put in place to promote democracy in Africa, especially in Burkina Faso, does not think together. Like what you have likely pointed out to the inconsistency, the regional bloc ECOWAS suspended Burkina Faso over a week ago, and only AU came in again and suspended Burkina Faso. Again, we can see that I can hear they send an envoy to go and speak to the leader, the new leader now has pronounced himself as the head of state, to discuss negotiations. So the question is, why do we legitimize the coup d'etats, if we condemn them and it's nowhere in the constitutions of Burkina Faso that a coup d'etat is one of the other entry for people or any head of state to come into government. Why does the regional bloc support you to go and even meet these terrorists or criminals who has committed treason? Until that we do not accept such things in Burkina Faso, these coup d'etats will come as often as they have been normally coming, especially in the Western Africa region.
Yeah, which is worrying. And one of the commentaries I was reading, I think it was in the New York Times, and they were saying, and quite a worrying, just one little phrase saying, coups are contagious. And the reality is this is exactly what it's looking like, because, when the coup happened in Mali, there were warnings to say, this is now going to happen in Burkina Faso, whether we like it or not. And lo and behold, here we are in Burkina Faso, the same thing has happened. And the reality is very much so what you were echoing in your answer, is that if they are not punished, if the coup plotters are not punished, this will carry on. And it looks like the people, the Africans within the country, are celebrating these coups. Talk to me about this. Why? Why does there seem to be such celebration, and yet the future doesn't look too rosy after coups like this?
Yes, indeed, people will celebrate, like I mentioned earlier, that the quest for survival for people, especially young men and women who are integrated into society, either they've finished matric or they just, coming to survive to enter into the adulthood. The scramble for resources, economic stake, has become a challenge. And to them, if the narrative comes that the reason we are suffering is because of the president, he hasn't been working in the way he's supposed to work, then of course change is good. People will celebrate for change. But no sooner do they celebrate for that change, they find themselves in the same position. Already, yes, we have unconfirmed information that in Guinea-Bissau, just not far away from Burkina-Faso, there was an attempted coup d'etat this morning. So these issues, they will continue coming if the AU or the people do not sit down as dialogue and discuss what are the causations of these coup d'etats, not forgetting the influence from the international community, especially France and Russia, who are very much involved into this region, Sahara region and the western part, in the extraction. And as well, if you look at the Peace and Security report, which was released, a few days ago in relation to the earlier one, it indicates that the private and military security companies, they are in the forefront in the coup d'etats because they act as providing security to mostly the extraction businesses, the mineral wealth businesses, where these private and military security companies are protecting. These are actually mercenaries. And once the government suspends the constitution, which is unprecedented in the history of democracy, you cannot suspend a constitution. The constitution is the supreme. But in any case, once they suspend the constitution, then they take advantage either to loot the resources or to empty the government coffers. And they take advantage through that opportunity. But going forward in Africa, especially in Burkina-Faso, there must be an end to coup d'etats. Like what you have mentioned, we cannot legitimize them. If they are rebel leaders, they cannot even be negotiated.
Yeah.
American history has demonstrated that they do not negotiate with terrorists. So why do we negotiate with terrorists? In Zambia, very quickly, they had a big problem in terms of President Lungu, who attempted to go for a third term. And, the whole environment in Zambia was not conducive. But there was no violence such as the violence we see in West Africa. In Zambia, on August 12, the Zambian people decided to change the government, to usher in a new government and to start building that. But in the Western African region, there is also an opportunity that once you're in the army, you can also overthrow the government and pretend to bring back the constitutionalism.
Yeah, very, very important conversation this, and I'm so sorry we've got to wrap it. I can see it's just before we've got to say goodbye to our SABC2 viewers, and warning signs will always be there, and that's the reality. When the people, we say the youth is young in Africa, and if they don't have a future, these are the things that can happen. Wealthy politicians that are so removed from their society, and these are things that we, even as our own country, South Africa, need to be very, very worrisome of. Dr. Sinkala, we've got to invite you back because I know that there's so much more to talk about, but we've got to leave it there. International Relations Consultant Dr. Charles Sinkala talking about Burkina-Faso and all of these coups that are taking place in West Africa. Quick goodbye. Thanks for watching, SABC2 viewers.
Indeed. We'll see you again tomorrow. Please take care.
Bye-bye.